The Rams allowed only 3.4 yards per play on Monday, the second fewest by any team in any playoff game over the last 5 seasons. Arizona's offense could not get anything clicking in the first half, averaging just 1.5 yards per play, which was the second fewest in the first half of a playoff game over the last 20 seasons. It was ugly no matter how you look at it. Marcus, what do you make of the performance by Kingsbury and the Cardinals last night?
I wish we had a graphic to put Kliff Kingsbury and Kellen Moore face next to each other.
Dang, man.
And tell you about demon guys, boy wonders or geniuses offensively. What I saw last night was a coach that was so in over his head in that moment that you have to ask yourself as an organization, are we really that far away compared to the coaches in our division? And last night was an indictment on Kliff Kingsbury more than anything. Because what we know about Kyler Murray is that Kyler Murray is an athlete.
Sure.
And what we know is that you break the glass in emergency situations and say, hey, man, I need you to become Superman.
Yeah, it ain't working.
It ain't working. So for him to stand up there and say you got out-coached, obviously you did. Your quarterback had no idea about what was going on. They were playing so under emergency. Like, it was almost like they started this game down.
The problem was, though, they didn't play with any urgency.
No, I'm not talking about urgency. I'm talking about the emergency, like it's all falling apart before it even gets going.
No
the first drive of the game, we was asking, what's up with all this straight drop back?
Right.
Like, what is happening with an offensive nuance?
Yeah.
Or come out in the second half and do something different. They got one drive going. After that, it resorted right back to what we watched the entire first half of the game. You gave your quarterback, third year, first time in the playoffs, no shot.
I agree with
as
that.
a head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to absolve Kyler entirely. He played poorly. He was panicking, right, every time he heard footsteps. But what, to me, if I'm a Cardinals fan, what I'm alarmed by is Kliff Kingsbury's probably going to be your head coach next year. Kyler is definitely going to be your quarterback. And that's the kind of loss that makes you question not only your personnel, but the entire offensive philosophy. Because what do we know about air raid? The system. You take your players, you line them up quickly, and then you say, my guy's going to beat your guy. But what happens when you lose to DeAndre Hopkins and suddenly your players are simply less talented? Your offensive line is less talented. Suddenly the system falls apart, and as head coach, your job is not to just trot out the players and ask them to win, is to come up with answers for them, and that's something we didn't see last night.
But haven't we talked about this the entire year?
It's
The last 2 years about Kliff Kingsbury? There are no answers, right? He comes in, and he has a game plan, and he has a report, and he has a call sheet, and that call sheet can't change. That junk is written in permanent marker. It is typed. It is ink. Ain't no pencil. Ain't no eraser. Ain't no whiteout. There ain't no change, y'all. He gonna do that's the same thing.
We can't absolve him of that, though, because this game is calling for you.
I've been saying that,
criticizing him. Right, like DeAndre Hopkins out. Okay, Antoine Wesley in, doing the exact same thing. That's exactly.
And there's no like rhythm or rhyme to it either. There's no foundation. Every passing game should have a foundation of timing and rhythm that's based to it, and Arizona doesn't. I'd say this, though. If you're the Rams, you got to walk away from that game thinking, man, how much do you love the addition of Cam Akers, or what looks to be a healthy Cam Akers? And I think there's two things why. Vision and violence.
Yeah.
And how much that impacts you as a running back to that offense. You know, when you're running that zone scheme that we talked about so much last night, the ability to have vision of where the cutback lane is gives you those 3 or 4 extra yards. The violence that he ran with, finishing runs. Sony Michel is a nice piece. This cat is different. And if you are moving forward next week and you're the Rams going, wait, Cam Akers not only look good, he look healthy, the impact that it could have on your offense run game-wise is so different than they have played the whole season with. That's got to be really at least comforting for their offense.
You know, when you think about as poor as Kliff Kingsbury seemed to scheme up this game, on the other side, Sean McVay made everything look so easy. Felt like he dictated the game
he was awesome.
with the game plan.
I thought this is the best we've seen Sean McVay in years.
Yeah.
Not just this year, but years. And I thought the Cam Akers addition was huge and a big piece of that, because when you come into a season, expecting to have certain people, expecting to have certain pieces and understanding how to use those pieces. And last night, he used those pieces to perfection because the run game was working. He stayed consistent in calling it. And then it led to the creative passing game that we could see from a team when you don't have to throw it 40 times. And I believe that Matthew Stafford was protected early.
Right.
And then we got to watch his talent, his patience, his understanding of the offense show as the game continued to develop. And there was no better way for this game to unfold for Sean McVay and his quarterback than that one did last night.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Cam Akers obviously coming back, but I was thinking about something as we was talking last night and going throughout the day. Odell Beckham Jr. didn't change this offense.
Now that he's comfortable in it.
He's because now Sean McVay is putting a plan together saying, which poison are they going to pick?
You're going to go, like the touchdown pass was, they go double Cooper Kupp?
Dude.
Cool. You're going to play him on one-on-one.
And you have certain coaches in this league that can find and needle those matchups all game long. And he decided to do it.
Looking ahead, and we'll look ahead a lot more, but off the top of your head, is there a defense that can match up with those weapons the Rams have?
If Sean stays committed and consistent to the run game like that, no. The truth is, this offense, and this is the offense that I grew up in the NFL, John Elway, it was always about running the football and then getting athletic quarterbacks with big explosive arms just burying you over the top. When Sean went back to his kind of glory days, so to speak, when Sean does that,
but
this offense, because of those pieces, are huge.
You're 1,000% right, but spinning it forward, the Bucs' run defense is not the run defense we just saw, which is going to test his commitment to the run game as you described, because it's not going to look as easy.
But we also come from the school that we don't believe that you have to have a dominant run game for your play-action game to be effective, right?
You two, same school.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.